What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 5 of season 1 of Delicious in Dungeon. We're going to be going full spoilers ahead, so hopefully you have watched this episode, and we'll do a real quick recap before we talk about our thoughts on it. Basically, the episode starts with another party who is deciding to go down to this dungeon, doing all their prep, getting ready. They go down there. They end up coming upon a box full of loot, a bunch of gold and jewelry and stuff like that. They decide to head out of the dungeon. Now they found something valuable, and then we come upon our party finding their bodies on the ground. Very, very quick story for them, for us watching. And yeah, they're on the ground dead. There's all the stuff they were taking, all the gold and jewelry all over the ground. They're trying to figure out what happened to them. While they're trying to figure that out, Laios's critter buddy and his sword starts jiggling his sword, trying to warn him something's up. He kind of understands that after a second, and they realize that the jewelry is actually bugs, basically. Marcel ends up freaking out and casting a stun spell that stuns all the bugs and the party. And of course, Senshi decides that it's time to eat these bugs. So he starts separating what we find out later to be actual jewelry and the bugs, and which later gets thrown in a hole, and they find out after they throw it in the fucking hole. So yeah, they eat the bugs. Ends up tasting good because everything does, apparently. And yeah, they head out. As they're going, they realize that there's ghosts in the area. They start getting pursued by one. They start kind of remembering Fallon, Laios' sister, and how she would have dealt with stuff like this because she was more proficient in this kind of thing. And in the flashback, it shows like a zombie that she ends up hugging and is able to basically exercise it. Yeah, so while that's happening, Laios drops one of his... He's got like this weird bug bun thing he's eating. A ghost attacks him. Marcel's able to rid it of him, or rid him of it with a fire spell. They end up going down even further. They're being pursued by ghosts, and Senshi ends up making a bottle of holy water out of a bunch of random ingredients. And yeah, they start getting attacked by the ghosts. They all start seeing their loved ones, basically. Laios has kind of a image of Fallon. And while this is happening, Senshi's swinging the bottle of holy water around, taking out the ghosts. Laios ends up, after coming back from being attacked by the ghosts, he ends up taking the holy water, swinging around, knocking all the ghosts out, and yeah, they end up stopping. They realize that because the ghosts, everything they touch freezes, the holy water turned into sorbet. Of course it did. And they end up eating it. It's delicious in dungeon, and yeah, they're hanging out, and Laios is having such a good time eating sorbet with his buddies that he says that it's almost a good thing that Fallon was eaten, or potentially eaten, probably eaten. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sitting there eating sorbet. And everybody gets upset with him, including, not really Senshi, but he kind of tells him some things are better left kept to yourself. Anything else at the end of that episode? Mm-mm. There's a lot of Fallon flashbacks in this episode. They're really reminiscing on her in this episode, which was kind of nice because we don't really know a whole lot about her as a character. So, yeah, what do we think?
Well, first off, I thought it was funny that they spent so long talking about this party in the beginning, and they were just very confident that they were going to take out the Mad Wizard at the bottom of the dungeon.
Mad Sorcerer.
The treasure killed them, so...
yeah, it's kind of bleak. Yeah. I didn't expect them just to die off.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because it's like bleak in a show that is like generally humorous, but it definitely just has like random moments of darkness.
It's weird, so like a whole party, they had their own dynamic. We even had a couple scenes where they're like, joking around with each other and stuff, and they just die. I'm like... Okay.
It's like last episode with the bar, the orcs just massacring everyone.
Everybody, yeah.
It's just like, Jesus.
Everybody's dead.
So,
and all the main characters just didn't care.
Yeah, it seems like adventurers kind of just don't care, especially their party. So
yeah. They care about food.
especially Senshi and what's his
Laios.
name? Laios, yeah.
Yeah, I like how they're all hesitant about the sorbet, and he's just eating it instantly. He's like, it's good. Like, he just doesn't care.
He's basically become like the person that you give the food to before you give it to the king
Yeah.
to make sure that they don't die.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's every time he eats, they're just like watching him. Is it? He's okay. Okay,
He's just ready to dive in. Yeah.
So, yeah, I like how also when the ghost part started, Marcel,
Yeah.
her solution was a miniature explosion or an M80 next to Laos's ear.
Yeah.
And then she kept saying that she would just get rid of them all with gentle explosions, very obsessively, which I thought was very funny and reminds me of another mage that I'm sure many people who watch anime are aware of, but not so gentle explosions there. And then, yeah, of course, Senshi would come up with a recipe on the spot for holy water, which was just a bunch of nods to versions of exorcism and spiritual barriers from different cultures and religions and stuff. So, and then add extra sugar because it looks like salt, which then, of course, made sorbet when it became frozen. So, yeah. Also, what am I going to call it? The sloppy joes, basically, that they had, except for shiny bug meat instead, were very disturbing.
Yeah.
So
I hated everything that they're eating.
Yeah.
None of it looked good, but they're just eating away.
Yeah, this is not a bug culture here. So
Yeah.
yeah, overall, though, it was a funny episode. And the flashbacks were nice because obviously we know they're trying to save her, but all we know is she got eaten. And so it
Yeah,
was
and
nice.
they're very passive about it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, she got eaten.
Versus them actually reminiscing about it. We get some character development. For
Yeah,
her,
we actually
which is
understand
nice.
what they're trying to save, basically, and not just, his sister. So, yeah, I appreciated that. I didn't expect to get that much subtle backstory. So,
Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, it was a fun time. So,
yeah, I like the episode. It's creative. I think every episode's been really creative so far. I'm always curious about what's going to happen in the dungeon and how it's going to relate to food, and I'm always surprised. I wasn't expecting treasure bugs. I thought at first it was like, some kind of like something took over people or something. I don't know. Especially when Laios started acting weird. But then we realized it's the critter and his sword that
he named.
Yeah, what did he name it?
Was it Alan Ski?
Something Ski.
I can't remember.
Something. We'll hear it again, I'm sure. But yeah, that whole dynamic was interesting too because I was wondering how that was going to affect things from the last episode where it said that they now have 5 party members. So we saw a little bit of it warning, I guess, or at least being freaked out that something was going on. So that's a fun dynamic. Yeah, the bug food was gross, but it was fun to see how they, what kind of meal they made with it, basically. The ghost stuff was interesting too because I wasn't really expecting like ghost fights in this, and that they're just able to pass through objects but freeze everything was kind of interesting, especially to make sorbet. That was really creative. I read the name of the episode, which is something sorbet, I forgot. And I completely forgot watching the episode. And then when they're swinging it, they're like, oh, it's frosty. I was like, oh, shit, they're making sorbet, huh? And that's exactly what they did. So I thought it was kind of funny. And yeah, a lot of the backdrop stuff with Fallon was cool. And I think that's about everything in the episode. It was a fun one. There's a lot of varied things happening in it in terms of like not just food, but combat scenarios that are creative. I thought it was cool that he even obviously it led up to the sorbet, but I thought it was even interesting they used a rope with a jar basically to swing at the ghosts. I assumed he was just going to throw it at him, so it ended up working because Senshi just knows a lot. Apparently, that dude just is a fucking encyclopedia of.
He should probably just go kill that sorcerer.
Yeah, he should do it. He could probably do it. So, and yeah, rip to the first group of people in the episode because when the episode started, I was like, we're getting to know some other people, and then they just died. I was like, oh, that's really weird, but oh well. But yeah, overall good episode. Liked it. Looking forward to the next episode. And yeah, you got anything else you want to say?
The only thing I was going to add was I think it's funny that this crustacean or whatever that's living inside his sword is just like chill with him, even though he ate its whole family in the previous episodes. So.
Yeah, apparently doesn't care a whole lot about that.
Yeah.
So, but it seems like a lot of people don't care about a whole lot of things in this anime. Yeah. So,
except for food, apparently.
It's a pretty relaxed world for how much danger is there.
And then also, I'm still confused on why he won't just like tell people. It doesn't seem like that big of a secret to me.
Yeah, I don't know. He's being really weird about it. But he's really weird about everything, so.
Yeah, he's a weird dude.
Yeah, he's like the weirdest person in the party, and that's saying a lot with Senshi there, so.
True.
It's, I still don't know if I like him as a character or not, but I like the rest of them.
Senshi's just essentially the dungeon hippie.
Yeah.
And then, you got your mage who's very, stereotypical elf in the I don't want to eat that, that's, gross and stuff like that. And then, your halfling elf, or not elf, rogue. So.
Thief, yeah. The thief guy and the mage both are a little more typical of the character, but yeah, Laios is really weird. And fucking Senshi is weird in like a fun way. So, yeah. Anything else?
No.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think of this episode. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? If you didn't like something about it, and where do you hope things go moving forward? I also want to let you guys know that I have officially dropped Metallic Rouge. We watched episode 4, and it's not clicking for me, even though I really like the art style. So if you're expecting any reviews of that, maybe if Shoei continues watching it, can convince me to watch it some more, or he finishes the season, says it's really good, and I might go back and watch it. Otherwise, I have officially dropped that. We also are not watching Bujigiri. That one didn't work for me as well. So, and I don't think it's working for you either.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't like that one.
So yeah, we will continue forward with Delicious in Dungeon. This is working for me, and we will be continuing with Solo Leveling, which we are going to watch right now and review right now. So stay tuned for that review. But I've been Seth, this has been Chevy. Until the next episode, we will talk to you guys later.